Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really cool idea that might just change the way you think about leadership forever. We're going to solve a puzzle that's probably bugged you if you've ever tried to become a better leader.
Right? I mean, you've seen this. One book tells you to be a servant leader. The next one says you gotta be transformational. Then someone else says it's all about transactional leadership. They all contradict each other. It's confusing. So what's the deal? Are they all wrong, or is something else going on?
Well, here's a fascinating way to look at it. Think about all the world's religions. On the surface, they look totally different, right? But a lot of people would argue they're all just different paths up the same mountain, different ways of understanding the same core truth. This model suggests that leadership theories work the exact same way.
To really get this, we need to introduce this idea of a leadership ladder. We're not talking about just learning new skills, like adding more tools to your tool belt. We're talking about actually climbing to a higher vantage point. It's a concept called vertical development. Okay, so this is the key. Vertical development isn't about what you know. It's about how you know. Think of it like upgrading the operating system for your brain. Each upgrade lets you handle way more complexity and see the world in a totally new, more sophisticated way.
And the ladder we're going to be using comes from Harvard psychologist Robert Kegan. He laid out these 5 predictable stages of how adults make sense of the world. We all start at the bottom, and with the right challenges, we can grow through them. Let's see how this works.
All right, now for the really cool part. We're going to take all those confusing, competing leadership theories, and we're going to map them onto this ladder. And once we do that, you'll see the contradictions just melt away and a really clear pattern starts to emerge. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, let's start at the very first rung of the ladder. This is the impulsive mind. It's the most basic way of making meaning, and it's all about what you can see, touch, and feel right here, right now.
So, if your worldview is that concrete, what kind of leadership theory does that create? Well, a very concrete one. This is where you get the old great man theories, the idea that leaders are just born different. You look for simple physical traits. Is he tall? Does he have a deep voice? It sounds simplistic to us now, but it makes perfect sense from this stage.
Let's climb up one step to the Imperial Mind. At this stage, you realize, hey, I have my needs and you have your needs. The world becomes a big chessboard where you're trying to get what you want through rules and deals.
And this worldview leads directly to things like transactional and bureaucratic leadership. The logic is crystal clear. Leadership is a deal. If you do this for me, I'll give you that reward. If you break the rules, you get the consequence. It's all about the exchange, the transaction. Simple, direct, and effective at this level.
Now, at stage 3, something huge happens. Our sense of self gets tied up with our people, our team, our family, our company. We're defined by our relationships. What we think and feel becomes more important than just what I want.
And out of this focus on the group, you naturally get leadership styles like transformational and servant leadership. The goal isn't just to make a deal anymore, it's to inspire the team around a common mission. It's about serving the group, building harmony, and moving forward together. The focus shifts from me to us.
Stage 4 is another massive leap. Instead of letting the group define who we are, we start to develop our own internal compass. We literally author our own personal values and our own philosophy on how the world should work.
And this is where modern ideas like authentic leadership come from. Suddenly, leadership becomes an inside-out job. It's about being true to your own core principles. You're not just serving the group's vision. You are generating the vision from your own internal code. This is where truly strategic thinking lives.
Finally, we get to the very top of the ladder, the self-transforming mind. This is a really rare stage where you can not only author your own system, but you can see that it's just one system among many. You can hold multiple, even opposing ideas in your head at the same time without needing one to be right.
A leader at this stage sees the whole ladder. They get that there's a time and place for every single one of the previous styles. They can be transactional when a situation calls for clarity, and transformational when a team needs inspiration. This is the birthplace of advanced theories like adaptive and complexity leadership, where leadership isn't about one person, but about navigating the whole messy system.
Now get this. Researchers estimate that less than 1% of the adult population consistently operates from this self-transforming stage. Less than 1%. This is huge because it explains why these advanced leadership ideas can feel so abstract or out of reach. They're being described from a level of complexity that very few of us have actually reached yet.
Okay, so this is a fantastic map of leadership, but how do you actually climb the ladder? How do we turn this from a cool theory into something we can actually use to grow as leaders?
Well, the engine of growth has a name: optimal conflict.
Now, conflict sounds bad, but it's not. It's that feeling you get when you're faced with a problem that's just a little too big for your current way of thinking. It creates this productive tension that literally forces your mind to expand to make sense of it.
And you can actually engineer this for yourself. Here's how it works. First, you hit a wall, a challenge your current leadership style just can't solve. Maybe your transactional approach is killing team morale. Step 2, you intentionally expose yourself to a new lens from a higher stage, maybe by reading about servant leadership. And third, you actively work to integrate that bigger perspective. That's it. That's how you grow.
So let's just zoom out and put a bow on this. What this vertical development model really gives us is a map. It's not just another theory competing for our attention. It's a map that shows us how all the other theories fit together.
So, here's what to take away. First, those leadership theories aren't competing. They're just different snapshots from different rungs of the same ladder. Second, your current developmental stage is like a filter that shapes everything you see and do as a leader. Third, growth is sparked by that optimal conflict, by stretching beyond what you currently know. And finally, what this all gives us is an actual roadmap we can use to grow into the leaders we want to become.
And that really leaves us with one big question to think about. Now that you have this map and you can see the different stages, what leadership lens are you looking through right now? And maybe even more important, what's the next one you need to develop? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.